Obviously, a frustrating point today, but in such tough conditions. What did you make of the overall performance today as well?
I think it was only frustrating because we were winning 1-0. The way we dealt with the set pieces, that cannon throw that comes in on you, I thought we were outstanding. I think couple of months back we'd have probably folded and conceded 2, 3, 4 goals with that pressure. So it's more disappointing the fact that generally when we're up, when we're leading the game, we see it out. Lad unmarked and scores a free header. The lad who should have been marking him gutted, but that's the nature of the beast. As I say, it weren't a game for the purists. It was an awful game with awful conditions that played, I suppose, into Southport's hands with the weaponry that they've got, i.e. the throw-in. But I think it was a fair result in the end. I don't think either side ultimately deserved to take 3 points. Thought we countered really well second half. We got in some good areas, but passed up opportunity to shoot when we should have done. But it's a point. Listen, it's another point on the board. We know we're not going to win every game, and if you don't win, then don't lose. I know it's an old cliche in the game, but don't win, don't lose, and we've got ourselves another point on the board.
A few teams around us drop points yet again. So how important does that make it going into Saturday's game at Hereford that other teams are also sort of struggling to pick up wins as well?
Yeah, I always use the word momentum. You need momentum in any part of the season, but especially at this stage. I would suggest that our form over the last 6 games is pretty good. It's probably better than the other sides, to be fair, in and around the bottom half of the playoffs. But other teams seem to be giving too much away. But we've got to capitalise that in the last 3 games. I tell you that every time we put pressure on the lads. We've got to win, and it'll be the same next week. I think if any team, you're probably looking at Kettering, Boston, York, ourselves, Hereford, who we play. How did Hereford get on? 1. Hereford included. I think if any team goes and put 6 points on next week over the bank holiday weekend, then I think they'll get in the playoffs. But not too many sides have shown they're capable of doing that yet. So I think next weekend's huge, and then obviously you're hoping you take it to the last game the week after.
As well, obviously there was a return of Mark Anderson and also Jordan Thulis as well. Just how important could it be having them and those sort of calibre players back in the squad as you head into the end of the season as well?
So ideally, we wouldn't have wanted to use any of them. Jordan Preston's the same. They've got niggles that can reoccur. We'll reassess what they look like tomorrow. See if any of them have reoccurred or if we picked anything new up. So we didn't really want to put them on, but when you're chasing the game, you've got that type of ability on the bench. It's really tempting to bring them on, and I thought all subs who came on were very good when they came on. So hopefully we get through this weekend, we get through tomorrow with no extras, and going into the last week of the season, which is essentially what it is from next Saturday. We have everyone available. It's massively important because over the last 4 weeks we've had a threadbare squad, as a lot of other clubs have done, but we're hopefully going into the last 3 games fully fit.
And as well, playing 2 of the last 3 at home at the Brewery Field, and on the final day I think we're the only team at home near the playoffs. So how important could that be as well?
Well, listen, the supporters again today, they've travelled across the country, setting off at God knows what time this morning, 10:30 to be at the game. There was 3 figures here. Again, the noise they make, I don't think they understand how much of a part they played. I remember I talked about after the Chester game last week at York, obviously we got cut out, the noise that they made. They were the only set of supporters over the major part of that game who were constantly singing, so it's vital that we get as many supporters down as we can. We've got a big opportunity of getting in the playoffs with 2 home games against 2 good sides around us, Chorley and Hereford, and if we can replicate what we do away from home at home, in terms of numbers, in terms of noise, in terms of atmosphere, then it's going to give us the best opportunity. So it's great knowing that we've got 2 home games, and then obviously the other game against Guiseley, but from our point of view, we need everyone pulling together over that last week. The more bodies, the more voices as possible.
Just as well, obviously Bernard wasn't there again today, so just could you give us an update on how he's doing at the moment as well?
Yeah, we got a bit of good news last night. He came out last night of hospital. He was at home. More to do with the fact that he's going to have to go back in, we think, at some point for more tests and stuff. Obviously, I'm not the expert. I don't know 100% what it is, but the great news is that he's back at home with his wife and children. And he texted me about 2 minutes before kick-off saying the anxiety, he wish he'd come because the anxiety is that bad that he's got. But we put a little, decent little run at the back end while he's been missing, and every result and every performance that we put out there is for him, and as the supporters as well, as I said. So it's great to see him being released from hospital. Hopefully we get a bit more news, and fingers crossed that he'll be there next Saturday.